But we have bishop e5, queen e5, attacking the rook on a1. The rook goes to c1, and this is a blunder. The only move is queen back to d1, defending the rook, because then if b5, then the knight can always come to the f3 square. Rook c1 basically means that the knight doesn't have a retreat. So after pawn g5, the knight is trapped. The knight is simply trapped. White tries pawn c4 counterattacking, but simply knight e7, adding even more control to the f5 square. White tries to create counterplay by winning a couple of pawns, and to be fair, all of black's pawns are quite weak, and you could argue that these pawns could create a passed pawn with something like a3 and pawn to b4, but the problem for white is that this knight is way too powerful, and the white king is incredibly weak. After pawn b4, Keymer has two ways to win the game, knight f3 and bishop h3. He first takes on b4, after queen b4, he chooses bishop to h3. If this is taken, which it was in the game, then queen g5 check picks up the rook. And if it isn't taken, let's say something like pawn to a4 is played, then actually bishop takes g2 is very strong. If you take the knight e2 picks up the rook. And if you take with the king, then pawn h3 is technically the best move, but queen g5 is easier, just picking up the rook on c1. So after queen g5, king h1, queen c1, white resigns.